Humans are greater than just surviving, an obvious sentiment to this day and age. We are now greater than simple generations of evolution living to outlive the last. Instincts change with each generation as the line of what we need and what we want becomes blurred. Instinct, a noun, is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as something that is a largely inheritable and unalterable tendency for an organism to make a complex and specific response to environmental stimuli without involving reason. Art is instinct and has been forever. The most important part of this definition is when it says without involving reason, because art is truly indescribable. Today, the idea of art scares a lot of people because it's so vague, but that is what makes it remarkable. The debate between whether art is subjective or objective has been discussed for years, but it's both, because it's a conscious act originating from a subconscious heart. Art is so deeply tied to emotion that sometimes it's hard to define what emotion is being felt or expressed. There's no one simple art form, there's no right or wrong way, there's no judge or jury. There is only you and your creativity. Expression of this creativity is the rawest form of a person that no science or study can decipher. It is the most authentic and vulnerable in which you can be, which is why so many are scared of it and turn away when an opportunity to share it arises. Art has truly been embedded in our blood since the very beginning and is something that was never questioned. It is constantly flowing out of us, but also always surrounding us. All of the natural beauty in the world is art. The sparkle of the sun through the trees, the leaves floating midair, the imperfect harmonizing of bird songs. That's the thing. Art has always been there, like the instincts inside each and every one of us. So what is art? It doesn't matter what the definition of art is to the world, because art is personal. It doesn't need to have a definition as long as you know what it means to you. Through art, we are able to share those indescribable feelings of humanity and realize parts of ourselves we've never understood. We are able to find ways in which we are uniquely different and ways in which we are the same. The open-endedness of art tends to have a negative connotation, when it really should have a positive one. The many different forms of art are able to cater towards whomever, whether an easel or a stage. Art does not discriminate. I think it's time that I restate for myself that I'm a dancer, and I have been for the past 15 years of my life. Dance brings me happiness I can't even begin to describe. But I've also derived joy from other forms of art, like photography and videography. Through dance, I can show people how I hear the music. And with my camera, I can show people how I see the world. Art has played such an incredible role in developing my character, but also in how I understand myself. For as far back as I can remember, I've turned to a form of art when boredom struck. Yes, I've had my fair share of binge watching Netflix, but more often, I'm excited by the idea of starting a new project. Summer days are spent on the driveway with an easel, a canvas, and a plethora of acrylics or watercolors. Fall evenings manifest random doodles and drawings, and winter nights are spent editing photo after photo of my latest stop-motion creation. It's always been this insatiable aching at the pit of my stomach. It longs for attention in every situation, but finds a new way to surface each time. I think the importance of this expression too often becomes hidden. Art is too regularly dismissed, either distracted by the mundane, never-ending checklists and duties of everyday life, or simply pushed under the rug as unimportant. There is not enough of an emphasis on its importance to not only expression and happiness, but to mental well-being. In schools, art is always deemed to be the supplement in addition to or an optional elective, but never as a real, viable study itself. In fact, Jacob Bernowski once said, "Science and art equally are expressions of man's marvelous plasticity of mind." Students and adults alike often become overwhelmed with responsibilities, and it's important to keep an outlet available for their thoughts and emotions that words are just unable to explain. Stress is something that I think I can say has plagued everyone at this room at one point or another. Managing and coping with stress can be difficult, and often we're too overwhelmed and quite frankly too stressed to even find time to deal with it. However, having an outlet for creativity, like the many different forms of art, have been proven opportunities for not only stress relief, but enriching happiness. Heather Stuckley published in her essay, "The Connection Between Art Healing and Public Health," that art can not only help with stress relief, but with depression, and can be used as a vehicle for elevating the burden of chronic disease. I can tell you about how happy art can make me, but multiple studies can do the same. Dr. Dacher Keltner, a psychologist at the University of California, Berkeley, said that awe, wonder, and beauty promote healthier levels of cytokines, suggest the things we do to experience these emotions, a walk in nature, losing oneself in music, beholding art, has a direct influence upon health and life expectancy. Dr. Keltner is talking about a feeling we've all had but never been able to describe. It's a feeling of almost catching and releasing your breath at the exact same moment. It's a feeling as though when you put in your headphones, you're almost transported right out of your feet with music, or just dancing around your kitchen to random 80s music, or finally understanding the painting in the museum you've never understood before, or as though your eyes could not possibly take in more of Earth's beauty. There's science behind why we feel this way, but also why it is so important. Art helps with stress and happiness, but also promotes the functions occurring within the brain at the same time. Eric Jensen writes in his book, Arts with the Brain in Mind, that the systems the arts nourish, which include our integrated sensory, attentional, cognitive, emotional, and motor capacities, are in fact driving forces behind all other learning. Essentially, to do and have art in your life is smart. Art is smart. So when I'm asked why I love performing as a competitive dancer, I always get caught off guard because I never really think about it. But I've realized it's not about the audience, the judges, or even the rush. It's about being the most vulnerable you could ever be, yourself. Authentic art can be scary because it comes from a place you don't even know is there, but that is what makes it beautiful. Thomas Merton once said, art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time, and I can vouch for this statement. Art is something that we were born to do, so I urge you to cherish and look for those moments of awe and wonder, to embrace that inner creativity I know you have, and take a second today and every day to notice the natural art in the world and the natural art in yourself. I can't imagine my life without art. Art is my instinct, and I bet if you look close enough, it's yours too. Thank you.